The buffalo was so much more than we give it credit to be. It was brother, home, food, and guidance. The buffalo did not take, but in fact, it gave, giving life to many Native American people on the great North American plains. Buffalo are often joked to be the Walmart of the plains. With this being said, it means that when they hunted buffalo, they could provide everything necessary for survival. From the meals they ate to the home they lived in, the buffalo provided everything, including the bullboat. There are different ways at constructing the bullboat, but from our knowledge, it is composed of one buffalo hide and willow branches. The branches are stretched out in the shape of a bowl, forming the hull of the boat. The buffalo hide is then stretched over the branches to form the boat. It is secured by other pieces of hide or branches to the frame. This was a quick and easy way to make a boat to travel a short distance. The ideal use of the bullboat was to cross from one side of the river to the other. Rivers such as the Missouri and Yellowstone, this was very common. The first Americans to talk about such travel were Lewis and Clark and the Corps of Discovery. Upon their stay at Fort Mandan, they journaled about seeing natives use these boats. William Clark is quoted, "I saw at several times a day 3 squaws in a single buffalo skin canoe, loaded with meat, cross the river. At the time, the waves were as high as I ever saw them on the Missouri." The Corps of Discovery also ended up using the boats on their return journey home. 2 times, in fact, the first being Lewis up on the Missouri River. Coincidentally, Captain Lewis had resorted to the bullboats to cross the Missouri River. With his detail of men, when they returned to the Upper Portage Camp on July 16, 1806, they built one boat after the Mandan fashion with a single skin in form of a basin. The next day, Captain Lewis reported, "We transported our baggage and meat to the opposite shore, in which we found the canoes answered even beyond our expectations." Days after Lewis's journey, Sergeant Pryor made the bullboat even more famous on the Yellowstone River. Sergeant Pryor was asked of Clark to take the horses by land to Fort Mandan. The first night on the job, he had the horses stolen from him. He tried tracking them down, but he had no luck. He decided then to take to the river in order to make it to Fort Mandan and to meet up with William Clark and the rest of the party. This is where he built 2 boats in the Mandan fashion, 7 feet in diameter. Pryor is going on a journey about 100 miles in these boats, which are only intended for river crossings. The reason he made 2 of these boats was to split up his guns and ammo, because the uncertainty of the river ahead. Luckily, he made it back to Clark, who was downriver just across the present-day North Dakota-Montana border. Even though Lewis and Clark made the boats famous, it was the Mandan people who mostly used them on the Missouri and Yellowstone River. Lastly, one story that relates to the Mandan people and the bullboat is the story of Dog the Welshman. This being the so-called earliest European traveler to be in North America. No evidence is given of his existence, other than his parents existing. However, a lot of early plains travelers speculated that the Mandan were descendants of these Welsh explorers. Due to light skin and fair features, not only this, but the bullboat is also very similar to that of the Welsh coracle. This Welsh-style boat is very similar to that of the bullboat. So could the Mandan people be the lost Welshmen? Lewis and Clark, however, thought the Salish might have been these lost Welsh. We may never know if Dog was real or not, and yet his legend still lives on. In conclusion, the bullboat held great service to the Mandan people, as well that it might have saved Sergeant Pryor and his crew on the Yellowstone. We may never know the birthplace of the bullboat, even though there are stories that might suggest so. The bullboat now lives in museums and in history books, but its legacy still lives on.